Tennis world number one Novak Djokovic has returned to the same Melbourne detention centre where he was first held as his lawyers go to court to continue to challenge his latest visa cancellation. A hearing is scheduled for Sunday. The eruption of a giant underwater volcano near the island nation of Tonga has triggered tsunami waves across the southwestern Pacific. Residents have been told to move to higher ground. There's anger at the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and other Conservative MPs as revelations continue to emerge about parties at Downing Street while coronavirus restrictions were in force. Washington and Kiev have accused Russia of preparing to carry out false sabotage operations to create a pretext for an invasion of Ukraine. The Kremlin denies the reports, but the Pentagon says its intelligence shows plans are underway.
The Japan Meteorological Agency issued a tsunami warning for the Amami Islands and the Tokara Islands in the southwestern prefecture of Kagoshima early on Sunday. It later issued a warning for the northeastern prefecture of Iwate. Waves up to 3 meters high could reach those areas. A tsunami advisory is also in place in wide areas along the Pacific coast. These alerts came after the massive eruption on Saturday of a volcano in Tonga. A 1.2-meter tsunami was observed in the Kominato area of Amami Oshima Island at 11:55 p.m. on Saturday. A 1.1-meter wave was seen on Sunday in Iwate Prefecture's Kuji port at 2:26 a.m. 90-centimeter waves have also been observed in other locations along the Pacific coast. The Japan Coast Guard has sent patrol boats and planes to see if coastal areas have been damaged, but officials say no reports of damage had been received as of 4 a.m. Sunday. Even if one tsunami has reached ashore, others could follow. Higher waves may arrive after the initial ones. The Meteorological Agency is urging people to remain vigilant in the coastal areas where tsunami alerts have been issued. Local governments there are urging residents to evacuate as soon as possible. People are being advised to stay away from beaches and to avoid the mouths of rivers. This video was taken by a viewer in Setouchi town on Amami Oshima Island. We can see many cars trying to get to higher ground. Inside are people evacuating from their homes. The Japan Meteorological Agency held a news conference about the situation earlier.
In the
areas where the tsunami warnings are issued, there's a concern that damage may occur. So people in the coastal areas and the riverside, please immediately evacuate to safe places like higher ground or evacuation building. And tsunami could hit repeatedly. So until all the warnings are lifted, please do not leave where you are if you're already evacuated to a safer place. And areas under tsunami advisory, it is dangerous in the ocean or the coastal areas, so please move away from the coast immediately. And sea currents could be fast, so until all the warnings and advisories are lifted, please do not go near coastal areas or get into the ocean.
Miyaoka Kazuki advised people to stay alert. He said the impact is going to be felt for a long time. Tsunami are usually generated by earthquakes, but this one occurred after a volcanic eruption. Miyaoka said the agency does not know at this time how the tsunami was generated. He also said the agency does not know when the warning will be lifted. An undersea volcanic eruption was observed off the South Pacific island of Tonga on Saturday. Satellite images show smoke from the volcano spread in a concentric manner. They also show the smoke had covered an area with a diameter of about 200 kilometers 1 hour later. Officials in Tonga say the cloud of ash reached a height of about 20,000 meters. The U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says tsunami waves measuring about 80 centimeters were observed in Tonga. It says waves of about 60 centimeters were seen in Samoa. Waves about 30 centimeters high were observed in Suva, the capital of Fiji. The city is about 700 kilometers northwest of the volcano. This footage shows a wave coming from far away and reaching the shores in Suva. Several more waves arrive after that as residents look on. People in Fiji say the volcanic eruption sounded like a roar of thunder in their country. Many areas along the Pacific coast are expecting high tides in the coming hours. These areas are under a tsunami warning or advisory. The JMA is urging people to remain alert as these conditions could generate higher waves than expected. It is also urging residents to evacuate as soon as possible if their area is under a tsunami warning, and to stay away from coasts and river mouths if they live in areas under a tsunami advisory. The JMA also issued a tsunami warning to Iwate Prefecture as well as the Amami and Tokara Islands. We go to our simultaneous interpreter.
May take longer. Tsunami could become higher. The coastal areas of Kanto, it is reaching full tide as of 6 a.m. Some areas already have reached full tide. If it coincides with the tsunami, the sea levels could become higher. JMA says it may upgrade the advisory to warning if that happens. Now on evacuation, in Chiba Prefecture, as of 4 a.m., at 12 cities and towns along the coastal areas, evacuation order has been issued. In Tateyama City, Asahi City, Katsuura City, Kamogawa City, Minami Boso City, Sosa City, Isumi City, Oami Shirasato City, and Ichinomiya Town, and Shirako Town, and Onjuku Town, and Chosei Mura Village. Evacuation order has been issued in those places. Please move away from the port and coastal beaches as soon as possible. And evacuation center has been issued in some municipalities in Kanto. In Hitachi City of Ibaraki, by 1:40, they have opened evacuation centers in the schools. This person says that it was very scary, and they decided to open evacuation centers and accept residents to evacuate. And NHK reported the police, municipalities, and fire stations, but they have not received any reports of damage. According to Ibaraki Prefecture Disaster Prevention Center, in Tokai Village, the Daini nuclear power plant and other power plants have not reported any abnormalities. The coastal areas of Kanto between 4 to 6 a.m. Will reach full tide and could affect the tidal levels. In Ibaraki Prefecture, Owarai Port, as of 4:32, it reached full tide, and 4:43 for Kashima Port, and Chiba Prefecture, Choshi, 4:46, and Katsuura City, 4:53. Tateyama City at 4:57, and Odawara City of Kanagawa around 4:57 in Misaki Gyoko Port, Miura City around 5:08, and Aburatsuo in Miura City about 5:08. This is the time of full tide. In Izoshima of Izushoto Island, around 5:08. In Tsubota Miyakejima, around 5:21. In Hachijojima Yaenema, it's around 5:35. In Kozushima, around 5:35. And Ako Miyakejima Ako, 5:26. And Hachijojima Kaminato, around 5:30. And Ogasawara Shoto Chichijima Island, around 6:02. These are the time of reaching high tides. And Numatsu City of Shizuoka around 5:33, and Shimizu Port of Shizuoka City around 5:34, and Shimota City around 5:29, and Ito City around 5:13. The full tide is expected to come around 6 a.m. in the coastal areas of Kanto. When that coincides with the tsunami, the sea level could become higher. The sea level is becoming very volatile. The JMA says that they may upgrade the tsunami advisory to tsunami warnings if the tide level goes up. In coastal areas of Kanto, tsunami advisory has been issued from around 12 a.m. And those areas where tsunami advisory is in effect, do not get close to beaches or near the mouth of the river. As morning arrives, do not get close to the beaches or seas if the advisory is still in effect. We encourage also the fishermen to not get close to port or seas and continue to check on